Hi everyone. Today I am going to tell you a short story from Vana parva, Tirtha Yatra of Mahabharata. So let me begin the story. This is the name of the story is Astavakra. So let me begin the story. You know what? There is a proverb. Don't judge a book by its cover. I think after listening to this story, you can say whether this proverb is true or not. So let me begin the story. There was a great rishi whose name was Uddalaka. He had many disciples, and Kahoda was one among them. Kahoda was very much devoted to his guru, and he was serving to his guru day and night. Looking at his pure devotion, Uddalaka became very happy, and ultimately, in due course of time, he gave his daughter Sujata's marriage to Kahoda. Kahoda, by that time, was very much learned, and he was also expert in Vedas and Vedangas. In time, Sujata became pregnant, and while Kahoda was reciting, means reading the Shastras, that time the child in his mother's womb said, "Oh father, whatever you are reading, I think they are not correct." When Kahoda heard these words, he felt very insulted because the disciples were also there. And out of anger, he cursed him, "Oh child, you are not yet born, and you speak from your mother's womb. So you will be, when you will born, you will be 8 bends in your body." Thus, out of anger, he cursed his own child. And Sujata requested her husband to go and get some wealth from King Janaka. As Kahoda was thinking that he was expert in Vedas, he went to do the debate with a learned fellow named as Bandi in King Janaka's kingdom. So he went there, and in the debate in King Janaka's court, in the debate, Kahoda was defeated by Bandi. Ultimately, as per the rule, Kahoda was drowned into the water. Bandi was a master of science of arguments, and was very learned. So nobody could defeat him. So one day, and Astavakra didn't know anything about his father. One day Astavakra was sitting on the lap of Uddalaka. At that time, Uddalaka's son Svetakatu, who was almost the same age of Astavakra, he saw him and he dragged Astavakra holding his hand and said, "This is not your father's lap." So Astavakra started crying, and he came running to his mother and said, "Oh mother, tell me, where is my father?" Then Sujata was very much afraid, and she told everything what had happened to her husband, means Astavakra's father. Hearing her words, Astavakra asked his uncle, means he was nephew and Swatakatu was his uncle, asked his uncle to go to King Janaka's court. Because that time the sacrifice was going on. So he said, "Oh Swatakatu, come, let us go and see the sacrifice so that we can learn lot more things from the other learned Brahmins, and we can have good food over there." Thus both of them went to King Janaka's court. While they reached there, they were not allowed by the guard, his gatekeeper. The gatekeeper first addressing to the king, Astavakra said that, ki, O king, if a Brahmin is not met on the passage, that passage, the way, belongs to either to a blind, then to a deaf, or then to a woman, and then to a man who possesses burden. At last it is yours. To the king. And if a Brahmin is met on the passage, then it belongs to him only. Then even the king also asked few questions to him, like the king asked, ki, O Brahmin, means to Astavakra, he asked, ki, O Brahmin, tell me, what is that who doesn't sleep at all, who doesn't close his eyes while sleeping, and who is that who doesn't move after burn, and the third was who doesn't have heart, and who moves, increases its speed. Then Astavakra told him, ki, O king, the child, what was the first question? Fish never sleeps, means never close his eyes while sleeping, and egg is that which doesn't move when he was born, and stone doesn't have any heart, and the river always increases its speed. Like this, they argued first, then the king told him to enter. Now the gatekeeper, they were obstructed by the gatekeeper, because the gatekeeper told them that the order of Bandi was carried out. So Bandi never allowed any child or the person, those who are not learned. The sacrifice is only meant for the learned fellows and the Brahmins and the old fellows. So Astavakra immediately said, ki, listen, if this is the condition, then we are old enough and we are also learned. We have obtained the proficiency in knowledge. We are also master of Vedas and Vedangas, and I want to, we are very much desirous to see the sacrifice. So let us go inside, and I want to meet Bandi so that I will have a debate with him, and not only that, I will defeat him. Because of him, so many Brahmins are drowned on the river, in the water. Then the gatekeeper said, ki, well, you are looking like a child, you are just a boy, so you are not old enough, how can you go there? Then Astavakra said, look, age is not defined as per the grey or white hair. A child can also be called as an old fellow if he is learned. Like the small fire cannot be ignored thinking as small, because a small fire also can burn anything. And not only that, we have already obtained everything, every knowledge, so let us go. Then the gatekeeper again said, ki, well, if you are learned, then tell me the verse which is demonstrating the supreme being adorned by the celestials. Then Astavakra said, ki, look, true growth is not merely defined as per the development of the body, as the growth of the knots of salmeli tree cannot say its age. A true growth means a tree is full grown up when it bears its fruits, even if it is small or slender. But a tree, if it is tall and strong and stout but doesn't bear any fruits, then it's not the full grown tree. Like this, the gatekeeper told him many things, that you are child, you are not allowed. To every question of that gatekeeper, Astavakra just counter, means he said all the answers whatever he asked. Ultimately he met the king, and the king said, Ki, O Rishi, just truly a man is said learned who understands the things which has 30 divisions, 12 parts, 24 joints, and 360 spokes. Then, to his question, Astavakra replied, may that ever moving wheel protects you, which has 24 joints, 6 naves, 12 peripheries, 60 spokes. Let that all ever moving wheel protect you. So the king immediately said, Ki, you are only 10 years old, but you are speaking like an old learned fellow. So I think you are a superhuman. And oh Brahmin, if you want, I am allowing you to enter the sacrifice and do the debate with Bandi. Thus, Astavakra went and started the debate with Bandi. But Bandin asked him, first king told him to Astavakra that you do not know Bandi, he was a super learned man and no Brahmin ever spoke to him because they all were defeated. He was shining like a sun, and without knowing his knowledge, why you are bent upon doing the debate with him? You are just a mere child. Then, to that also, Astavakra told the king that a child also should not be slighted, because maybe he is a child, but if he learned all the shastras and obtained all proficiency in knowledge, then he is not a child. And old age and child is not defined as per the age or the grey or white hair. Hearing his answers, King Janaka was stunned, and he said that, no doubt that you are a superhuman and you are a blessed child. So he's even looking at Astavakra, all the other Brahmins, they started laughing that look at the body of this boy, and he wants to debate with Bandin like this. But at last Astavakra shouted, he said aloud, Ki, O Bandin, I want to debate with you and I will defeat you today itself. So all the learned Brahmins and the those who were present there, they were attending both the question and answers of Bandin and Astavakra. At last Bandin asked him 11 questions. To every question Astavakra gave the correct answer, accurate answers, by which Bandin was defeated by Astavakra. At last, Astavakra was very angry. That is why he said, Ki, O king, now as per his rule, let the soldiers capture, means seize him and let him be into the water. Then Bandin joined his hands and paid his respect to Astavakra and said, O King Janaka, I am the son of Varuna. When you started your sacrifice, at that time, my father was also started one sacrifice. Because of that, whoever was defeated by me, I sent them to my father. So now I am defeated by ye, I am going back to my father's house. Thus he was drowned, and he was happy that he was going back to his own place. Now, after a while, Kahoda immediately came up from the water, and he was very happy to see his son Astavakra. Then he said, O king, look, I may not be a learned one, but look, my son is so much learned. So it is not like that a fool cannot give a brilliant child, or a weak cannot give a strong son. Like this, he said, and they went to their hermitage. Then he asked his son Astavakra to give a dip, means to take a bath in the river Samanga. And as per his father's order, Astavakra took a bath, and immediately his whole body became straight. So this is the story of Astavakra. But the questions and answers, since the questions put by Bandi was too difficult for me to say, I mean, they are very tricky questions, and the answers given by Astavakra was excellent. So I cannot remember all these 11 questions. This is the story, means physical deformed. Having the deformed body, Astavakra proved himself as one of the brilliant, excellent, learned rishi. And not only that, my point is, means the moral of the story is that do not judge anyone from the outward appearance. He was deformed, but he had so much knowledge, he was so much learned. And because of him only, that too he was so young, he was only 10 years old. So because of him only, his father was saved. And he also showed to this world that appearance doesn't matter at all. If you can acquire some knowledge, if you can gain some knowledge, that is more than enough than your physical appearance. Thank you so much. And this story was told by Rishi Lomasa to King Yudhishthir. That is why Lomasa Rishi told King Yudhishthir to take a bath with his brothers and Draupadi in that river, Samanga. Once again, I will meet you with another good stories. Thank you so much. And yes, if you have time, please read the new stories which is posted in, whether it is mythology or everyday stories, please read it from my site, thegulpa.com. Thank you.